Gascoigne going through a chance here to score. That's a brilliant finish by Gascoigne. Hoist. Gascoigne's kept moving forward here. Great play by Gascoigne. It's goal number 1. Brilliant play by Paul Gascoigne. That's good play by Selenko. Hoist is Gascoigne racing through the middle. Great play for Rangers. And Gascoigne has scored. It's a magnificent goal by Gascoigne.
I was just ready to play for Glasgow Rangers.
As Gascoigne breaks into shooting position. He's done it! He truly is a genius. What a magnificent finish that is.
Absolutely unbelievable feeling. It's one of the best feelings I've ever had.
Here's Gascoigne now, pushing forward. So great determination! Oh, he's done it again! It's unbelievable!
Because they're all choked up, and that's the truth. Doesn't matter, you know, not even now when I've been away from the club for 3 years. And I'll have to go watch a game and go and support and go and see, as I say, family up there, because that's what they were for me.
A July afternoon in 1995, and Rangers proudly introduced their latest signing, a world-class player who, although he didn't know it at the time, was about to embark on the most successful and enjoyable period of his eventful and often controversial career. Paul Gascoigne's journey to Ibrox had begun on a Florida beach 2 summers before.
I just seen Walter, I just looked at him, and he was carrying this big ice bucket. I know he had beers and that's for sure. He had ice bucket and with his son. His other son was playing the beach, and I just turned to Shell and I said, "That's Walter Smith, man, of Glasgow Rangers." That I said, "God, I would love to play for them."
My first recollection of the first day is I'm picking up American football and hurling it at my younger boy, intentionally well over his head, so that he would hit someone who was sunbathing at the time. And as usual, my young lad turned round and ran to retrieve the ball, only to get the abuse from the person who has been hit with it, and said Paul Gascoigne was in the water. So that was one introduction to him.
But it would be 2 more years before Walter Smith was able to introduce Gazza's outrageous talents and frequently outrageous lifestyle to Ibrox.
I read in newspapers that his time was up at Lazio, and they were considering him, letting him go. So I sat down with Archie and I said to him, look, there he's been, because even in that 2-year period, when he was going back there, he still had that injury problem. I think he got a fractured cheekbone, and he was out for different things, following him over that period of time. And I said to Archie, I think he might be one that might make a bit of a difference to us. So he said, yeah, I think so. I spoke to David Murray, and he was all for it. So I doorstepped him. I headed for Italy, and I got his address, got a taxi ride out to where he was, and was fortunate that he was just going away for a weekend, and I arrived on a Friday afternoon. So we had dinner on a Friday night, and he went away on a Saturday, but obviously I had the chance to sit down for most of the Friday and speak to him, and he seemed really keen. He had 1 or 2 other offers that obviously I had to look at as well.
Dean was off, even though he was brilliant to us, He was really, really good, and Lacho, he looked after us. And things weren't going too well, and I heard there was rumours he'd been trying to sell us, so I went into his office. I wasn't too happy, and he said, "Yeah, you've been trying to sell us behind me back," and I wasn't too happy. And I said, "Well, name the clubs," and he was Chelsea. I said, "No." Aston Villa, I said, "No." Went a few others, and I was just saying no, not interested. And he said, "Rangers." I said, "Rangers?" I said, "No, I'm going to them." So, I said, "No way," because I think they were in the 1st division, which was the 2nd division at that time. And I just looked at him, and he said, "Rangers." I thought he might have been interested. And I went, "What Rangers are you talking about?" When he said Glasgow Rangers, and that was it. I said, "Get him on."
That would be the last time Paul would confuse Queen's Park Rangers with the Rangers.
His time at Newcastle You know, I think you know, Newcastle and Rangers having an affinity there, and him being Geordie, it was he was, you know, well in tune with Rangers, and I didn't really have to do that much talking to get him there. I think he was really pleased that such a big club out with England would come for him again.
When I was just sitting there around the pool, and I was so excited. I just couldn't wait for him to come to the gates, and he come to the gates, and I could see him. He seemed a little bit nervous. He's never been the same since with us, like. God, I wish I could turn the clock back. He says, "Let me tell you about the club," and I says, "Jim, get 2 beers." I says, "I'm signing." And I says, he says, "Oh, we'll speak to the chairman." And the chairman just says, "I've got your house sorted already." And I said, "Oh, that's great." And he said, "You'll love it." And I said, "Right." I said, "When can I come?" I didn't even pack the suitcases. I left that in Jimmy. I was away. Just got on a flight. It was fantastic, you know. I was just going first travelling with Walter. If you ever see the photo, it's great how young he looks. To now, what amount of years I've put on him. I actually laugh about it. And we just went to the ground, and I'm seeing Walter. And then I just met Archie, and the things he's been done in the game with Aberdeen, Manchester United. So I got a bit of buzz there as well, and then seeing the chairman, which made me feel so welcome. It was unbelievable.
He's a good character, and you know, he always gets on with. If you meet any one of his teammates, there'll be very few players that have played with him who won't say that they find him a likeable character. And he had that impact. We had 1 or 2 characters in his dressing room at that stage as well, so they were all ready for him. So the dressing room was more than alive and well when he appeared. But he had that effect, and he joined in with those characters right away. McCoys, Durant, Gorhams, McCalls, they were all there. They were all waiting for him. And, you know, he was one of those boys who was accepted in the dressing room almost immediately.
Durant, he was on my case within 2 minutes, really, really hammering us. And there was Coys, he digged in with a few. They were just saying, you give, you know, I wasn't one. I used to give Terry Butcher a stick when he played up there, and he said, "Don't mock it until you try it." And the thing I'm amazed is about Glasgow Rangers, the training and the players, and that, you know, I thought it might have been easy up there, but it's not. It's not at all. It's each training session. I mean, we used to play a game in every training session, and it was just like a cup final. Really was. Everybody was fighting like mad for a place. You know, you're talking about you with a squad of about 16 internationals.
When I first arrived, we sort of knew what to expect, but we didn't know what degree of insanity to expect. You know what I mean? And he came in, and he was always in time, and he always was immaculate. But he was like, you could dress him in head to toe in Armani and Versace, and he'd still look a paraffin. You know what I mean? He's one of these guys.
He was a party animal. Now we used to have our Christmas nights out, and he was always. Now we used to have put it to the boys what we were doing. And he was always for fancy dress. Every year it was a fancy dress. We're going, "Oh no, here we go, change it." And he just loved his nights out. Honestly, the time at Rangers now, it was a big part of our team. Now a lot of people now put us down, but we now enjoyed ourselves. But we enjoyed ourselves at the right time.
I've played with a few characters in my time. I've been involved with a few characters in my time, but I think Gascoigne probably takes the biscuit. Well, first and foremost, as a football player, he's without doubt one of the greatest talents I've ever seen and had the pleasure to play with. He was the one player, I think, out of all the guys I played with that could take a game by the scruff of the neck and go and win it for you.
That priceless ability was evident from the very first time Gazza played at Ibrox in a pre-season friendly against Steaua Bucharest.
Marquetely underneath, there's a good head flick for Laudrup. Gascoigne's in the middle, and in from Laudrup, Gascoigne. His first goal at Ibrox, and the paying public love it.
Naively, Gazza celebrated the goal by pretending to play the flute, never realising the implications in the west of Scotland. He was already the victim of a dressing room wind-up.
Fans loved it, and I thought, "Oh, this is great, this." And the next day when I picked up the papers, oof, panic attacks. And I thought, "Oh, I'll never do that again." And the player that got us in this, I went mad with him and said, "I can't believe he could at least tell us what it actually meant." I didn't even play it properly.
Gazza was learning fast, though, as he proved to the delight of the Rangers support, scoring his first league goal for the club in the Old Firm match in September.
The atmosphere was unbelievable. The stick I got was unbelievable as well, and get all the chants and everywhere, all the pies and stuff like that. And we went all out for it. You know, they said this is the one. Celtic and how much it meant to them, and I was just sitting in the dressing room and I was shaking. Like I said, I didn't know what to expect. And when I went up there, the roar, even our fans making a hell of a lot of noise, stuck in the corner there. And I just remember, I think Alex Cleland scored the first with a header. And then we were battling through the second half, and then the ball got wide to Coisty, and I just rang from our box, and I kept on running. I thought, I'm in Yaffy squares at this, and I didn't want to scream for it in case, you know, anyone seen us making the run through. And then I got through, and Coisty gives a great ball, and all I had to do was just put my foot to it. That's how good the ball was. All I had to do was just make contact with the ball, because I knew the keeper was coming at such a pace it is. And then when I just seen him tripping over the lane, we had a couple of guys warming up, I think. Charlie Miller might have been one, jumping up and down. I think it was Durant and Charlie jumping up and down, and I just ran to our crowd. And absolutely unbelievable feeling. It's one of the best feelings I've ever had. And I remember going in the corner, giving it all that. And I think it was this baldy Celtic fan. And honestly, if you had I look at the video when I see he score that goal, and I think if he had got a hold of us, he would try to rip my head off my shoulders. He was going absolutely mad, and I knew it, so I just stayed there in that position. And that was my first derby win, which was brilliant, and to get I think get a goal in it was great.
He was a fantastic player, Paul, and everybody knows what a great player he was. But I think he's probably, a lot of people don't give him the credit for some of the goals he scored. Because he scored some wonderful goals, really top-class goals, and that was certainly one of them. But I mean, it's obviously been well documented what a creative player he was and what a talent he was. But from my point of view, which is obviously goal scoring, you know, he chipped in his fair amount of goals and quality goals at the same time.
But Gazza was also the supreme creator, as he had demonstrated on his Old Firm debut earlier that month in a Coca-Cola Cup tie, also at Celtic Park, laying on this superb cross for Ali McCoist to head the only goal. By the time Gazza had scored in a 4-1 win over Hearts in October, he was learning the high standards expected of a Rangers player.
You had to not only perform in training, but in the games, you had to be winning at half-time. I mean, some games used to go 2-0 up, 3-0 up, and the gaffer would really go mad. I mean, there was one game I played, and I scored one and set one up, and he said I was messing about. I couldn't believe it, and I didn't even say anything. I just shook my head like that. And next thing I know, I had a football boot just missed my head. It flew and just hit the thing. And I really myself. I just stared at him. I thought, God almighty, I couldn't believe it. And just remember how nice he was when he knocked on that villa door for us to say, and bang, that's it. I thought, right, I'm up against it now. This is what it's all about, playing for Glasgow Rangers. I knew after he did that, I knew how important the club was to him and how much it meant to him.
For 2.5 years at Rangers, I thought he played tremendous football. At the start, you know, he had to show everyone that he was back, and he wanted to show everyone, not just in Glasgow, but in London and England and everywhere, that, you know, Paul Gascoigne was back and playing his football.
Patrick plays it through to Gascoigne. So it's Gascoigne. Laudrup's just ahead of him. This is Cleland. It's Laudrup now. Here comes Petric. Well, Hearts finds claiming a foul against Laudrup. But a lack of concentration, a chance for Rangers to finish it, and it's Gascoigne. And that ties it all up.
Paul Gascoigne's up there with David Cooper, amazing ability. He gave the impression he was knackered all the time, but he got a yard and made a pass, or he slipped away from him, got a goal. Amazing player.
Meantime, the special bond Gazza had formed with his manager, Walter Smith, was becoming evident in all sorts of ways.
He was always there for us. He was always there for us, him and Archie. It's unbelievable. I was sitting in the hotel one Thursday, and the two of them, and they knew I'd been down a bit. The two of them said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm just sitting in the hotel to get ready." And Archie and the gaffer took us out, with glasses of wine, and it was a bit oof. And this is right, no more for you, you've had enough. This is game Saturday, and I was thinking, oh God, I've got to play well on Saturday. But it was just nice to be in the company and just relaxing. And I thought it was just brilliant, and I thought it was part of the staff then. and I was walking back to the lodge and I was stumbling a bit. So Gascoigne, I looked behind, the two of them had their heads out the window and they went, "You don't play well on Saturday, you're going to find 2 weeks and you're dropped." But I just looked at them, I can't believe I've let them do this to us. And, brilliant, we won 7-1 and I think I got goal of the season. Goal of the season against Hibs, and I just looked at them and it's never again, never again. So they're always trying to see what you would do, see if you would take the bait, and I did again. But the two of them, I have so much respect for them. They give me 3 great years.
But it wasn't always plain sailing with the manager. They bumped into one another one Friday night before a match with Falkirk.
And I was just having a shandy, and I think it was at a fag at the time, and I was up near the leisure club, and he just walked by, and I looked at him, "Oh, Gaffer," and I put it down. You know, "Gaz, you all right?" I went, "Yeah. See you tomorrow." And that was it. Went to the change rooms, got ready, had my kit on, doing some stretching, about 40 minutes before kick-off, some 45 minutes before kick-off. He says, "I need a word." He says, "What were you having last night?" I said, "Just a shandy." He says, "Oh, is that right?" "Yeah." He says, "Get your suit on, get out of this club, and go home." I didn't know if he was joking or not. All of a sudden, I just looked in his face, and I went, "He's not joking." Slammed the door.
I sent him home, and as usual, after he does something like that, he's full of regrets, and he was back in on a Sunday morning looking for me to apologise, and etc, etc.
Couldn't believe it. Archie come in, he says, "Right," he says, "You know, you can't be doing things like that." I said, "I know." I said, "I was gutted." I said, "It was just a shandy, but a shandy's a shandy, full stop." And went back in the dressing room, all the lads were looking. I was so embarrassed. I've been so embarrassed in my life. I had to put my kit on, my suit, and I just walked upstairs. I couldn't go back. I couldn't make my way home because the fans were still coming in, and I just apologised to the guys, and he went mad. And I went back, and Archie got us in Sunday morning and run the bollocks off us, and never again. Like I said, that was another one of Archie's, one of the gaffer's punishments to us, and like I said, I never did that again, that's for sure. And that's why I have so much respect for him.
I thought part of it's just part of him, you know, and strangely enough, I read an article by Billy Connolly, and he said once that, you know, if you've got somebody that's got a genius at something, you've got to live with the genius rather than the genius live with you. And I never really thought about it before until that, and I suppose, you know, for the likes of Terry Venables, Bobby Robson, myself, that's what we've had to do. The quirks that he had out with his footballing, part of it, were outweighed by the talent that he had.
Of course, Walter had to deal with not just one genius, but 2. Gazza and Brian Laudrup formed a devastating combination.
I used to have to try and keep them apart at 7-a-sides and 5-a-sides, play them in opposite teams, because we played together, they just passed each other all the time, and that, in many ways, was how they got on. You know, they had no problem getting on with each other.
He was unbelievable. We used to say, "Give it to Brian if I wanted to rest for 5 minutes in the games," and we did that. You know, I used to say, "Yeah, Brian, give us a break. Have a go with the ball." And he'd just take the ball off the end, and away he went, you know, and these little dribbling count-runs used to have, and he was brilliant at it. In fact, you know, even in training, play against him, you knew exactly what he was going to do with the ball when he came to beat you, but he still did it. I remember Stuart McCall going mad once when Brian Laudrup ran him and Stuart beat him. And Stuart went mad, he started stamping his feet. Stuart, I knew he was going to do that, I knew it, and that was Brian Laudrup, you know. So if we knew what he was going to do and beat us, God knows what the opponents thought.
I've been lucky in my time, and especially at Rangers, to work with some terrific players. I mean, you know, you always go to ones that can do a little bit different for you. I was lucky to have 2 of them, Brian Laudrup and Paul Gascoigne.
They were 2 of the greatest players in the world who combined regularly to rip opposing defences apart. Special players, capable of providing that touch of magic which wins matches. But was the brilliant Dane a better player?
Brian, nah. It wasn't. I don't know, people might have the scenes. No, he's we're different types of players, like I said. I mean, I don't know if he would like to be a centre midfield player playing against me. But I certainly wouldn't like to be a right back or a left back playing against him, that's for sure. But a quality player, and he was absolutely fantastic for Glasgow Rangers.
By late March in his first season, Gascoigne was driving Rangers towards their 8th league title in a row.
This is McCoist. Gascoigne's kept moving forward here. Great play by Gascoigne. It's goal number 1. Brilliant play by Paul Gascoigne. 8 minutes gone here at Ibrox Stadium. It's Rangers 1, Falkirk 0.
That goal against Falkirk was Gazza's 15th of the season, and Rangers' 3-2 win took them another step closer to the title. By the end of April, it was within touching distance.
We're top of the league, and we fought like mad in every games to get that spot and keep that spot. And I knew Celtic were closing in a bit, and it just come, throughout the season. All of a sudden, that was at Aberdeen at home. And I knew they hated playing each other. First off, for the 3 experiences I had against them. And I thought this would be the one. It'd be great to get the championship. I didn't even think about goals. I just thought, just get this game out of the way. Let's get the win. And then we went 1 down.
19.5 minutes gone now. Still no scoring here at Ibrox Stadium. Perhaps a chance for the Dons. And it's Goff who's here in the serving. And Aberdeen sensationally take the lead.
1 down, and then I got the ball from the corner, and I pretended to shoot it to the box, come inside, done the dribble, and then side footed through the keeper and at the roof of the net. And it was a great feeling, and I just felt drained there and then.
Here's Gascoigne now. Can he produce some magic? Still it's Gascoigne. Oh yes! A tremendous goal by Gascoigne! The perfect reply from Paul Gascoigne within 2 minutes. It's Rangers 1, Aberdeen 1. Laudrup it was who struck the corner kick. Just look at Gascoigne here. Past Dodge, past Windus, and past the goalkeeper. Fantastic play by Paul Gascoigne. Rangers 1, Aberdeen 1.
It was 1-1, and it was there. I think it could have been a throw into them, but it would come to us. And Al McLaren just looked at it and said, "Come on, Paul." I always get a scene with a lump on my throat when I talk about this. It's such a magic moment. And then Al McLaren just said, "Come on, Paul," and I just said, "Alan, I've got nothing left." And I thought it was sunny, and the ball just come to us, and I thought, that's it, just go. And there was players behind us, so I just kept on running and running. Actually, I think I was running just with trying to keep the 2 guys off either side of us, and I just kept on running, and the goal was coming closer and closer. And then the defenders just dropped off a little bit, and I just thought, get in the box. That's all, and then maybe get a penalty. So I kept on running, and I was next thing, and I was about 14 yards out, left foot, and I just curled it, and I went in. The feeling was unbelievable. God, choking over here, but just even talking about it.
Here's Gascoigne now, pushing forward, showing great determination. Oh, he's done it again! It's unbelievable! What a goal. Rangers 2, Aberdeen 1, and Ibrox scores absolutely wild. Well, I did say he was perhaps keeping something for the closing stages. He had gone a bit quiet, but he was obviously keeping something for a lung-busting run. He goes right through the defence, and what a marvellous finish! Rangers 2, Aberdeen 1, and they're on course for 8 in a row.
I think David Robinson was the first to jump on us, the silent assassin. He jumped on us, and the feeling was just blank, and I was just screaming under the whole lot of them. And like I said, sorry Al, but I'm glad Al didn't jump on. I think I definitely would have suffocated then. The raw, the feeling, just no one would ever take it. You've seen what effect it still has on us now. We're choking up a little about it. I'd never, I don't think I'd ever witnessed a feeling like that. Never. Just thinking the gaffer, we wanted 8 in a row, and I would love to have got it. And then to get the second to make it 2-1, and everyone, the buzz was unbelievable. I looked at the clock, and it was just 2 minutes. I thought, 2 minutes, God, I've got the winner. I've got the winner. It'll be absolutely brilliant. Just brilliant for myself after the time I had at Lazio and a great season at Rangers. And then Gordon Jury made a run and got a penalty. And Coyce had the ball and I said, Coyce, come on. This is a hat-trick, man. I can't believe it. A hat-trick. First hat-trick for Rangers, win the championship in a row. And he went, no, I'm taking it. I said, come on, Coyce, please, you've got to let me take it. He said, listen, Gazza, he said, I could be leaving. I said, this could be my last goal ever. And I said, well, if you're leaving, I said, well, let me have the penalty then. He said, you've scored enough goals for Rangers. And he looked at us and he just threw the ball and he said, go on and Gaz. Good luck. And that was it.
I looked at him and he was like a big St Bernard's man. His eyes, right? He's like, can you be serious? I was like, I was serious a wee bit, aye, but if you're going to break down on me here, you know? And I gave him the ball, and of course, he stuck it away. And it was his day, and it was a wonderful day.
This for the hat-trick of the championship. "86 minutes gone, and Rangers have won the championship."
To make it the day of all days, Coyce relinquished the ball for the first time ever, and Gazza got his hat-trick with a penalty. You know what Coyce is like, he's a stubborn so-and-so, but Gazza was having none of it.
But again, a hat-trick. The first and the second goals are fantastic goals. I mean, in anybody's book, they're terrific goals. I mean, the second one especially, I think would, probably show Paul Gascoigne his true light, running half a length of the pitch, leaving people trailing behind him, and to finish in the manner that he did. And especially at the time, because we needed the goal. And I don't think anybody was out of the game would have begrudged him the hat-trick. If ever a player deserved to get a hat-trick for an overall performance, then he did in that game.
It's 8 in a row for Rangers.
Three weeks later, Gazza and Rangers were at Hampden for the Tennent's Scottish Cup final against Hearts. Rangers just 90 minutes away from completing the double.
I remember Archie all through the games. Come on, lads, out and smell hot dogs. That was his saying. I can smell hot dogs. And just sell hot dogs at the final and that. And that was great. I used to look forward to him saying that in games. Right, lads, the hot dogs. You smell the hot dogs, And that's what the club was all about. There was bollockings, there was tantrums, there was things thrown about, there was scraps, but they were always together come that kick-off. Always together.
Jury to Laudrup. That's good running by Laudrup, a chance here for Rangers. That's the opener. Jury's pass off with Laudrup on again, followed by McManus. Severe test for young McManus this, looking after Laudrup. And a bloomer by Rousset. Jury's pass, here's Laudrup. McManus goes back with him. Played it early this time, but Jury! And that was a beauty. Here's McCall. Robertson towards Laudrup. He's on against McManus. He's still on his feet. And this is Jury. Jury the fourth. And here's Laudrup. Jury's inside, looking for his hat-trick. Measured for Jury. 5-1 to Rangers.
The double was won, and it had been an eventful season for Gazza. His disciplinary record was a concern. He had been booked far too often, been sent off on a Champions League tie in Dortmund. been reported to the Procurator Fiscal following a match with Aberdeen at Ibrox, and even got a yellow card for booking the referee with a card he had dropped. Was he worried? Not so as you'd notice.
To win Players' Player of the Year in the Sports Writers and to get the double and a hat-trick. They don't come much better than that in one season, and the 19 goals for midfield. I wish it's great for me personally. But like I said, the gaffer come and got us, wanted us to come to Glasgow Rangers and do their business, and I thought I didn't definitely let them down the first year.
With 2 medals and 2 Player of the Year awards, that was an understatement. After a summer during which he broke Scottish hearts with a wonder goal at Wembley during Euro '96, Gazza and his Rangers teammates began their pre-season preparations for the attempt on 9 in a row in Denmark. The trip gave the irrepressible Geordie a chance to indulge in another of his great passions: fishing.
Oh, look at this! Oh, look at this! Justin, come on, beauty! Oh, where am I? I've got a vase. Yeah. There we go. Take it up now, mate. I'm fishing.
Go on, Coisty, go on, son, it's coming now. You've got the best of it. You've got the best of it. Oh, we've lost it. Oh, that was a good one, that, wasn't it? Yeah,
What did we do now?
No, it went on in the boat. You got no chance. Oh, we lost it. Got no chance when it's like that.
Is that right?
No, if we're down at the bottom, there was no one else fishing, you could just follow it round, you know what I mean? Like, just say it went underneath the boat, you just walk round the boat and take it from that side. Coisty, it's a good in this one. There. That is it's the same one, Coisty. It's the same one. Come on. There, come on.
The Danish sea air had obviously been good for Gascoigne. He began season 96-97 with 5 goals in his first 6 league matches.
It's through now for Gascoigne. Gascoigne again. Twisting and turning. Brilliant goal by Paul Gascoigne.
Gascoigne getting away from Weir. Gascoigne again, taking all the time in the world to score. Number 2.
Gascoigne for the equaliser. Van Vossen again. Gascoigne starts a run through the middle. He's screaming for it. Good running by Gascoigne. The goalkeeper had left his line. He decides to stand up to him. Still it's Gascoigne. 2-1 to Rangers.
Rangers then went into the first Old Firm match of the season with a 100% league record, and Gazza's social life depended on it continuing.
I remember it most of all because Michelle come up and Al McLaren's wife was at the game and Shaw was at the game, and we said we were going out, and I said, I don't know. I don't know yet. I said, we have to wait to see how the game goes. So if we win, we're going out. And I didn't fancy staying in.
Here's Alberts. Van Vossen coming in from the left, which he does so well. Alberts. Splendid save by Marshall. It's gone for the header. A towering header from Richard Goff, and Rangers take the lead. The pressure was mounting all the time. Came from the corner kick, and Alberts with the outswinger. Goff coming in here, got such good elevation, Hughes couldn't get him, and the header goes beyond Gordon Marshall. Here's Di Canio. Now McNamara, chance here for Celtic. John Hughes is there. It's off the crossbar.
I the ball come out to me near the box, and I just kept running. I knocked at someone. I don't know if it was Stuart McCall. Stuart McCall knocked at me, and I knocked it wide, and I just kept on running. And I kept on running, and George Albert's whipped an unbelievable cross, and a diving header to it.
There's Gascoigne.
I remember just turning around and I seen Shares and just screaming up, we're going out, we're going out. Because it was 5 minutes ago, we're going out, and just looked up, and the gaffer was off the bench, with all that, and Archie and all the subs. It was great to see.
But that was to be Gazza's last celebratory night out for a long time. Things were beginning to go wrong, both on and off the pitch. Rangers had flopped again in the Champions League, just as they had in Gascoigne's first season. Then Rangers had failed to win a match, despite this brilliant solo goal against Steaua Bucharest.
As well, keeps his run going. It's Gascoigne. So it's Gascoigne with a great run here. It's Paul Gascoigne. Can he finish it off? Oh yes, he can. Paul Gascoigne with a wonder goal for Rangers.
Now the '96 Champions League challenge was also going badly wrong, with heavy defeats at the hands of Grasshoppers and Ajax, against whom Gascoigne was sent off in Amsterdam.
Goffey going mad in the gaffer, and I knew the gaffer's mad, because when he doesn't see it out, I know he's even sometimes worse than he is when he sees. So I was gutted I let the lads down, but in another occasion, but in just Europe, I just, like I said, in the Champions League, we did not perform in any of the games, and that's not good enough as far as I'm concerned. And it wasn't because the competition wasn't good in Scotland. Because in training, we were different class in training. Sometimes when we played games in Scotland, we ripped the teams apart. And then we just come to Europe, and the teams that we did play weren't much better than us. Definitely not. Because when we played them at home, we seemed to batter them. It was just when we went away, we got battered ourselves, and we just didn't perform. And now one of the gaffer and Archie used to use the rags, because when I look at it, and the internationals we had, we should have done better. We should have done better.
Far more significant than losing in Europe, though, were the ugly scenes at the Gleneagles Hotel, which marked the final breakdown of Paul's relationship with Cheryl. It was a moment of madness which he now bitterly regrets, and one which drove him to the very edge of despair.
I'll go back to the hotel, cry, because I just couldn't take no more. I knew I did wrong, and it doesn't matter how many times I'd said sorry, or how many times I hold my hands up. I just knew the game was coming on a Saturday. I used to be petrified on a Friday night and on a Sunday morning. See what was in the papers on a Sunday, and Friday nights just thinking about, what's going to happen in the game. And I had that for a while, and I was I just can't explain. I'd hate to see anybody in that position. Luckily enough, like you said, I had the lads around us, the manager, and had me football and training, especially the training, not much the matches. The matches were horrible because with the away fans. I wouldn't say I wanted to kill myself, but I wasn't enjoying life at the time. I was depressed, I must admit, but I hung in there. I was turning up for Rangers, training, press outside my house everywhere, and I was just focusing on training. I knew I didn't want to slip up. I couldn't let my personal problems to affect us on the pitch. So I hung in there. It was hard when I played away at teams, and I sang, he beats his wife, getting that for 90 minutes. It was really, really horrible, and I stayed focused in the games. I don't know how I did it, but I did. And everyone was there, and even though I was at fault for what I did, and on all occasions, like I said, I was determined not to let Glasgow Rangers down, even though I let other people down.
And he didn't. His performances on the pitch during that black period in his life were remarkable, given the anguish he was suffering off it. He even scored a hat-trick against Motherwell after Brian Laudrup had opened the scoring.
Slick pass there, giving Rangers possession. Here's Laudrup. Gascoigne's in the middle, so is Bo Anderson. He's got in. McInnes. Cleland. Well, Gascoigne strikes again. 4-0.
And I went to control and hit me shin. I flew in the top corner. And I was trying to tell everyone that I meant it, but they were having none of it.
Cleland. Gascoigne. Cleland stepping away from Martin. Could be number 5. It is. And it's a hat-trick for Gascoigne. 5-0 to Rangers. 83 minutes gone here at Ibrox Stadium.
Even before that Motherwell hat-trick, Gazza had helped Rangers into the Coca-Cola Cup final with this goal against Ayr United. Then, on an afternoon of high drama at Celtic Park, Rangers took control early on in the final against Hearts.
Away from Richie. Geist. 1-0 to Rangers. Lydia line extremely well, McCoist. Up goes Petric. Chance on there for Moore. It's played in by McCoist. The second for Rangers. Cameron playing it in for Fulton. Great goal by Fulton.
And I just wanted to do well. And I made myself so nervous I didn't have much of a good first half. And I remember having to go with Coisty and telling me, Coisty was just trying to make a space for me and not try to put him in, so it was a confusion. And because I was having a bad game, I said to Coisty, you know, and he blamed him, and he went mad and he poked us in the back of the head. And we're coming in half time and he was absolutely going mad, and I'm thinking, oh God, here we go. My game wasn't going right, my teammate wanted to have a fight. I just thought, oh God almighty, I just seemed to went to pieces.
But we're running up at half-time and the two of us are still at it. So he's running up, he's giving me one of them, and I'm chasing him up a tunnel. He says, you wait up that tunnel, I'm having you, and you have nobody. And all that, you know, really adult, schoolboy stuff at the same time. So we get into the dressing room, right, and the first thing I clock is Walter, right? Oof. And to be fair, I had a wee bit more experience of clocking Walter than Paul ever had, you know. He knows now that, you know. So I've clocked him, so we're still at it, all that stuff. So Gaffer says, right, come on, shut up. And I've looked at Walter and I've did the sensible thing, shut up, right? Paul says, no, shut up, nothing. He says, shut up. Shut up, nothing, it's McCoist, never. So Walter picks him up, right, like that. This isn't at half-time. We're winning in the cup final, right? And he pins him up at Parkhead, right? You could just see the colour drain from Gascoigne's face.
The handbags at 10 paces. I'm having you, no, you're having me. You hit me first, I'll hit you. Oh. It was actually freak, because I was injured at the time, but I'm down in the dressing room, and you could see Coist and Gaz were going to hang up now, hammer and tongue of it. Coist, now the gaffer's face, and I think Coisty clocked the gaffer's face, and the gaffer went a wee bit serious. Coisty shut down, but Gazza, being a Geordie, kept going. And next minute, just seeing a wee Geordie get pinned up against the ball. Honestly, he had to change his boxers at half time. Don't worry about that.
Archie come in and said, "You had a brandy?" I said, "No, I haven't had a brandy." He said, "Go and get one." So I had my kit on. I just apologised to Coisty, said I was sorry and out of order, and I just walked into that because the game was at Parkhead. I walked into the director's box, everyone was, and just sweating, and I just went up to the barman and said, "Can I have a tub of brandy?" And they were just looking at us, and I got this tub of brandy and just downed it and I said, "Thanks very much." I said, "Oh, I've had it, Archie." And we'll get over there and start doing the business.
I tell you what, he went out and scored 2 of the best goals you've ever seen in your life.
But before then, Hearts shocked Rangers with an equaliser, created by Neil McCann and scored by John Robertson. Suddenly, it was 2 each. Cue Gazza.
As Gascoigne breaks into a shooting position. He's done it! The spark of genius again, just what is required. Here's Gascoigne once more. Oh, he's done it again! It's remarkable play by Gascoigne. He's won the cup without question for Rangers.
The lads didn't really come that close because I was probably smelling the booze, but I just couldn't believe it. I think the brandy done the trick and we won. And it was great afterwards, just celebrating, you know, and making up with Coisty. You know, I think it was out of order. Telling him especially the legend that he is at Rangers. But that's what makes champions champions. People do fall out with each other. I think if you don't fall out or you don't shout at each other, I think you don't care for each other as far as I'm concerned. And that's what Rangers was all about.
He got us a tremendous level of goals for a midfield player. When you consider he wasn't even a sort of off the front player, he played in midfield. He would be back helping the team defend, he would be up the pitch. And the only thing he had to keep doing with him was give him the ball, because if he didn't see the ball for a wee while, he got kind of frustrated. Apart from that, I thought for 2.5 years, just before he got injured, he played some fantastic football for us.
When he was on the park, he was at his best. Now, you've seen that enjoyment. I think now, any Rangers fan will say now Paul Gascoigne will be on his top team. It's just in training, he'd done things now. He had to, Archie and the gaffer had to drag him off training in a Friday so they could rest up for the game that Saturday, how much he enjoyed it.
There were some days I used to go training and be a nervous wreck because I wanted to do so well and I didn't want to do wrong. And there's the gaffer and Archie, you know, they won so much. Archie's won medals left, right and centre. The gaffers won medals and I wanted to be part of it, and the players that have been under him had won medals and I wanted to be part of that.
Paul moved a step closer to winning another of those much coveted medals when he scored a superb goal in a 4-1 win at Tynecastle the Saturday before Christmas. But the Gazza grin hid the fact that the festive season was a difficult time for him, as Walter Smith had realised.
I was on my own at Christmas. You know, I wasn't speaking to Cheryl, and I'd been on my own Christmas, and this is what you do on Christmas. I said, no, I'm all right. I'm just going to relax around the hotel. And he said, no, I'll come round for tea. And I didn't really want to, and I did. And it was so nice of him. It was unbelievable. And I remember him just picking us up. And I went for Christmas with him. I didn't give us any presents, like, which I was gutted. But I had a great Christmas. They made a lovely lunch. And his family were there, the kids, and I got on really well with the gaffer's kids. I was always playing snooker with them, and I lent him the car now and again. And they'd say, oh, don't tell me, Dad. So I've dropped them in there a little bit. But, you know, he just made us feel so much at home. And that's why I wanted to do everything right for him.
A goal against Raith Rovers in a 4-0 Boxing Day victory was the perfect way to return the Smith family's hospitality. But even as 1997 began with 3 straight wins for Rangers and another Gazza goal in a 1-1 draw at Kilmarnock, things were about to go horribly wrong for the Geordie genius. An ankle ligament injury in a 6-a-side tournament in Amsterdam kept him out of the pursuit of 9 in a row for 3 months. He returned just in time to feature in the ill-fated match with Motherwell at Ibrox, which could have clinched the championship.
I remember we had the chance at home. I think it was Motherwell. I was sub. I had a chance, 6-yard box, and I missed it. So I knocked it down and I missed it. And that would have been the goal to get 9 in a row.
That's Jury over his head. Gascoigne! Would you believe it? They don't.
I was in tears after the game. I was gutted. One was a fact because I was sub, but I'd just been come back from injury. So, you know, I accepted the gaffer's decision. I have to anyway. Got no option.
But 48 hours later, and with Gazza's hair newly shorn, it finally all came right. Brian Laudrup's headed goal at Tannadice was the one which sealed the long-awaited 9 in a row.
Miller's cross is a good one. That hits Laudrup. It's a classic from Laudrup.
Great cross from Charlie Miller and a great header from Brian. And I remember I spent 5 minutes, 10 minutes, keep looking at the bench and like, you know, you're all right? And I said, yeah, I can carry on. And I wanted to be there, and I thought, well, that's 8 and that's 9, and I was just so pleased. You know, the pressure just seemed to be off the gaffer because he got 9 in a row in the match Celtic. But in the dressing room, it was unbelievable. Goffey was in tears. I was in tears a little bit, just happy. I was in a bit tears because I seen Goffey's face. And no one ever sees Goffey in tears. And he was just, and I knew that his time was up. So it just meant so much to the gaffer, you know, to get 9 in a row. It meant so much to them.
It was a very emotional after the game, I think now. I think he was glued to the gaffer for an hour after that game. Then the celebrations coming on, I don't think anybody changed their script.
But look, I've worked hard, I've had my little problems off the field, I'm sorting all that out. But I tell you what, pleasure. I've got 4 medals in 2 years. That's what it's all about. Aye. That's what it's all about. Because skinheads don't bother me. Skinheads don't. And I was drunk last night and I was drunk the night before. I'm going to get drunk tonight like I've never been drunk before. Victorious and glorious. I've only got 1 bottle between the 4 of us. Glory, glory me. Did you ever see the 2, the 3, the 3, the 4, the 4, the 4, yeah. I'm singing the rain. I'm singing the rain. What a glorious feeling. Hold on, arms out, arms out. Hands together, hands together, hands together, hands together. Aroocha-cha, aroocha-cha, aroocha-cha-cha. Aroocha-cha, aroocha-cha, aroocha-cha-cha. I'm singing the rain. I'm singing the rain.
Been through George's Square and that, he couldn't believe this was happening. Then he careful off. I think he was on top of the bus at one point, honestly. Oh. You've got your prize asset now, just not giving a job, and just on top of the buses, and you could get blown away. But that was him. He was in Clyde 11.
The laughs we had were unbelievable. One day he came in, and he just walked straight into the middle of it. It was a wee bit later, and he walked straight into the middle of the dressing room, right? And I used to sit up at the corner, and I'm thinking it's normally an early. So he dropped this bag on the floor, and just shouted, "Right, lads!" And we all turned and looked at him, and he went, and he smiled, right? And he had this new set of teeth, right? New teeth, right? And we were in tears. I'm telling you, the whole place is in tears. We're off on about 5 minutes later. He says, "Coisty," he says, "What do you think?" I says, "What do you think?" I said, "You could chew an apple through a letterbox with them, man. They're unbelievable, right?" So we're all falling about laughing. Come. So we get the whole thing set up. I says, "Right," I said, when he was having the bad time at home and things like that, and he was on his own, I says, "Right, out you get." He says, "Out the dressing room, we're going to get a table in the corner, we're going to have a glass of wine, and I'm going to play the part of the blonde sitting there myself. You've got to come in and chat me up with your new teeth," right? So all the boys are sitting about the dressing room, right? Door gets kicked open, right? And he saunters in, right? And he walks right up and he's fiddling about with this makeshift ashtray in my table, and I'm sitting there like that, ignoring him. And he just went, "Hi, I'm Paul," right? And we're all just falling about laughing. And he said, he's lied it, killed it. He said, "Do you know something?" He says, "I've got to be honest. I knew I was struggling. I knew I was really struggling when I left the house this morning. And my dad shouted at me. He said, 'Paul.' I says, 'What is it, Dad?' He went, 'All the best.'" His dad says to him, "All the best," before he went to train him his new teeth. Oh, it was magic.
But when the lads were there, I think he just go to Steps bar and played dominoes and cards, and everyone was be there. And the gaffer didn't mind that, as long as you performed in training and give all in the games. And Coffey and Coisty was the events manager.
He came in one morning, right, with a pair of waders on up to his chest, right, with a collar and tie, and 2 big trout, right? So we're all falling out laughing again, killing ourselves laughing. But to be fair, Walter and Archie couldn't do that because he's got his collar and tie on, man. He's looking brilliant. His waders were a disgrace, but he's got the collar and tie on. So he said, "The boys are going training," and him and I were injured actually. There's a surprise. And he says, "Right," he says, "Here's a laugh." He said, "We'll wait till the boys go training and we'll hide the fish in one of the boys' cars," right? I'm going, "A beauty, it's a great idea." So there he goes. I said, "Who do you fancy?" He said, "I think we'll have Gordon Jury's car." He says, I said, "That's a good idea." So I'm in the jukebox pockets. I get the keys to his Honda, and away we go. Open the door. So we open the boot. So he says, "I know where we'll put it." So he unscrews the spare tyre. He goes underneath, lifts it up, unscrews the spare tyre. I hands him a trout, right? So I go to hand him the other trout. He goes, no, you don't do that." He says, I said, "What?" So he screws the tyre back on, puts the thing down, gets the other trout, opens the back door, right? Finds a compartment in front of the back seat I just never knew existed. He puts it in there. I says, what are you doing? He says, when he finds the first one, he'll think that's it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm a novice in this game. I mean, it's brilliant, absolutely top class. It's just, I thought, my hero, you know. So Jakey's coming in, and I should have sat there, and Jakey's coming in like 3 mornings later, and he's going, fucking smell in my car. He says, it's unbelievable. He says, see when I'm stopping at the lights, he says, people are walking by, going, so we're all falling out laughing, right? So eventually, he finds this fish, right, and he comes in and says, aye, bang your order. He says, I know who it is. It must be you or Gascoigne. It's nothing to do with me, I said. So, but for the next 2 days, it was even better. He comes in, he's going, I'm telling you, there's just, I can't, for the life of me. And the best it was, he must have had about 14 of the, the Christmas tree air fresheners. He had them hanging up the back, and they were hanging for wing mirrors and mirrors inside, rear mirrors, purple ones, blue ones, and the smell. He said, I can't get rid of it. I just can't get rid of it. So eventually, he sent it in to get cleaned. Never mind clean. And eventually, I think in the Honda, they found it, and it wasn't a cleaning, it was a fumigation. The place was all, and he had to get rid of the car. I think Walter was too impressed with it. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant, but what a mind to think we'll hide the second one. Oh, he was a funny boy.
The smell was horrific, it was, honestly. He tried to get us back, but I caught him coming in with the fish. And I said, no. But great lad.
The 97-98 season would be Gazza's last at the club he had come to love. It was a frustrating and ultimately disappointing one, as the bid for 10 league titles in a row failed narrowly, and the team which had gone through so much together began to break up. Through injury, Paul managed just 3 goals in 20 appearances, but all 3 were memorable.
Gascoigne sends it in. Oh, it's a wonderful goal by Paul Gascoigne.
2 superb strikes against Dunfermline on October the 18th, 1997, were to be Paul's last goals for Rangers. They brought his total to 39 in just 103 matches, an astonishing contribution for a midfield player. In March 1998, Brian Robson's Middlesbrough made Rangers a £3.4 million bid, and with things set to change dramatically at Ibrox, maybe it was time for Gazza to go.
I didn't know Abercrombie. I didn't know what lied ahead of us. The team seemed to be, at the end of the 10 in a row, was going to split up. They weren't going to be the same guys. I had to think about that. The guys had been brilliant to us. They weren't going to be there the following season. The gaffer wasn't going to be there. Archie wasn't going to be there, and I just thought, well, God, I wouldn't hardly know much people. The chairman says, come and see us. I went to see him. He says, look, it's up to you. And then I rang the gaffer, and I just says, I'm trying Middlesbrough, and I couldn't talk to him. I said, I can't talk to you, gaffer. And I put the phone down on him. I got in the car, and I started crying my eyes out. I was really, I left Alan McLaren's house. I was crying, I gave Alan a hug. And I was driving down the motorway, joining Middlesbrough, and I was crying all the way down that bloody motorway. And at one point I stopped the car. I was ready to turn around and go back. I just couldn't, I just couldn't do it. I got to Middlesbrough, I still couldn't believe where I was. It broke my heart to leave him with 10 games to go, and I still think now, what would it have been like if I'd have stayed? I think we would have done 10 in a row. And I have to sometimes drive myself crazy thinking about it. It took us a long time to come to terms walking away from Glasgow Rangers. I eventually spoke to Walter. It took us a while. I couldn't bring myself to speak to him because I just felt I was devastated leaving him in the first place. I was devastated, you know, I was really devastated. And, but it happens. That's football for you, and I moved on, and he come to Edmonton. When I played in the cup final for Middlesbrough, I was come on a sub, and after the game I got beaten. I just looked up in the stands. I heard someone shouting. I looked in the stands. It was Al McLaren, Gotti, Coisty, Durante, Gordon Jury, Andy Gorham, all in the crowd. I met them afterwards. We had a drink together, and that was my farewell drink. And I thought, you know, I was still thinking about it. I just couldn't believe it. I just left it, an unbelievably massive club. And I still think, you know, what if?
Paul made an emotional return to Ibrox to play in a testimonial match for the player who had become his closest friend at the club.
Alan gave us the pleasure of playing for his testimonial. It was great to be back for the club, playing, and I got a half 45 minutes. That was really, really nice. A great turnout for Alan McLaren. That's what the fans were. That's how the fans were like. Were brilliant. And even at the club, Alan was there a few years and bad injury. God bless him. The fans' great turnout, and they'll give me a great reception to being back. And I must go up there. I have to go up there for a game. I just find kids get all choked up, and that's the truth. Just you know, not even now when I've been away from the club 3 years, and I'll have to go watch a game and go and support, go and see, as I say, family up there, because that's what they were to me.
Gazza's close friendship with Alan McLaren was an unlikely one.
Two completely different people. You know, Alan, the quiet, as I say, really hard man, tough guy, taking prisoners. And myself always joining, you know, the two were just clicked. And then whenever I had any problems, I used to have a word, Alan, please, and just talk to them through it. Even there were times where I'd be crying, really down. And I'd sit and talk to him, you know, and cry my eyes out in front of him. And he was all, you know, he was brilliant of us.
Gazza's sudden departure came as a shock to his teammates, every one of whom admired his talent, but also held him in great affection.
I don't think you'll ever see him, a character like Paul Gascoigne, ever again. Everybody's got to say about him, but it's only plaudits that come out of my heart for him. And what he's done for me over the years, being a friend, but he's a tremendous boy.
I mean, he's just one of those characters, I think, if you mention a name, you start to laugh. You know, we had quite a few of them, McCoy and Durant. I think you bring into the same thing. If you mention their name, you just start to smile. And Gazza brings that to you. A lot of people are maybe like that, but he'd also the capability of bringing a smile to your face by playing football as well.
I'll tell you what you should do. You should get into coaching. I'm telling you. I mean, people might laugh at that, but I tell you what, I mean, if my three boys were going to get coached by MD, I mean, I want them coached by great players. I want them coached by Davy Coopers, Ian Durant, certainly Paul Gascoigne. I think he's got so much knowledge. I mean, he's obviously got so much ability, but he's got so much knowledge. And I think he'd be fantastic at passing it on. I really do.
But definitely once a Ranger, always a Ranger. I really, really enjoyed it. I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. If there's anything I could turn the clock back and would love to, would be just getting off the aeroplane, Glasgow Airport, and joining Glasgow Rangers Football Club. I'd do it all over again. I'd do them 2 years for the rest of my life.
Glasgow
Glasgow, we love you. Glasgow, we do. If I should ever leave you, I break my heart in two. I did give the referees some rough times up there, and it was unfair, and I knew they were under the cosh a lot. But sometimes I used to apologise to the refs and say sorry for shouting or something, saying that, and I earned a little bit of respect that way. But I think it was 50-50. Even though I know they've got a hard job, definitely go. I would hate to be a referee. I was starving, and I thought, oh, he won't mind. So I've lifted up the window, and I was on my own. I've climbed through his window, and I opened his fridge, and I got some bread and butter, and I was starting to make myself sandwiches. And and I wouldn't even think anything of it. And the door opened. I went, all right. I just looked at my aunt and went, what are you doing, Gaz? So of course he's out, I just made a sandwich. Oh, I ain't any problem, help yourself. See you later, good night. He shut the door and walked upstairs. Couldn't believe it. He just come down and said, all right, Gaz. I mean, anybody else would never have come down them stairs. He would have panicked. Because he was just the way he was. He just come around. He was friendly to everybody, didn't he? I mean, I think if I'd done it on someone's house, I might have had a baseball bat, didn't put the lights on, just cracked us across there. He just switched the light on. What are you doing, Gaz? I was as if he expected us. I left notes. I'm coming to the house at +2. When I played in the cup final for Middlesbrough, I was come on a sub, and after the game I got beaten. I just looked up in the stands. I heard someone shouting. I looked in the stands. It was Al McLaren, Gotti, Coisty, Durante, Gordon Jury, Andy Gorham. In the crowd. I met them afterwards. We had a drink together, and that was my farewell drink. And I thought, you know, I was still thinking about it. I just couldn't believe it. I just left it, an unbelievable massive club. And I still think, you know, what if I'd have stayed playing that Euro '96, and I took so much flack off the Scots, and I couldn't wait for the game to come around quick enough. And I remember just going and run past him. I wasn't going to do anything to his face because he might give us a left hook, but just running past him, the smile of face, I could, if eyes could kill, I reckon he would have killed us. But afterwards, I kept on putting pictures of me scoring the goal and celebrating. He kept on writing them out every day. I'm warning you, Gascoigne. But great lad. Got on really well with Andy. Great goalkeeper. Great character. Me and Granny we used to play against each other in England under 21s. We still joked about who was the better player on the day, and I laughed because I knew he was the better player. He scored a great goal, and he was. I thought Durante would have went and been Scotland captain for years, and one of the outstanding players in the world, mate. And unfortunately, like myself, he had a horrific knee injury, horrific, and it took him a couple of years to get back from. But he still had it. He was always 2 yards ahead of other people. Good lad, and Durante got a pool table in his house, and I used to go around and whop him every single game, and he couldn't take it. But he's a great lad. He's great. I remember one story with Durante. I says, I'm in the morning, and he says, oh, why do you have the day off? I said, no, I've got to be in the morning. So he says, what time? I said, 9 o'clock. So he put the clock forward in my room. 2 hours, I was absolutely devastated. I got the training ground and it was 7 in the morning. So 20 past 7, I couldn't believe it. I was like, so amazed, we're just racing, and looked, it was still dark in the morning. He had put the clock forward 2 hours, so it was a great trick he'd done on us.